Life honestly would be so easy अगर हमारी ज़िंदगी में भी ऐसे पूरा ऑर्केस्ट्रा आ जाता पीछे to tell you that oh this person is playing you. Hi, I'm Pratiksha Mishra and you're listening to my review of the Archies. The Archies is obviously inspired by the comics, तो बहुत सारे characters जो हैं including their names have been retained in the Archies created by Zoya, Akhtar and Rima Kakti. ये जो Indianization however है story का has happened by explaining कि all of these characters are essentially part of an Anglo-Indian community that has settled in this area called Riverdale. Riverdale was found by this British officer because he came to this place and said wow this is paradise on earth, and he settled there after leasing it from the Maharaja at the time. The gang is all the same. We have Agastya Nanda playing Archie Andrews, the main man in the comics, not so much in the film. Then we have Khushi Kapoor playing Betty Cooper and Suhana Khan playing Veronica Lodge. ये हमारे तीन main हैं. And in the film also there is that main angle of this love triangle that we see in the film जहाँ Archie के affections बीच में यहाँ बीच में वहाँ जाते रहते हैं. But the main conflict in this film is the fact that Veronica's father, after having the family having returned from London, has decided कि जो बहुत ही उनका beloved green park है, there he is going to do essentially redevelopment. अब इसमें introduce होता है that kind of angle of corporate greed versus personal interest. This also happens in another storyline where Reggie's father, Reggie is played by Vedang Raina, his father essentially tells him that oh, this journalistic freedom and press freedom is very important in this world, but also then has to kind of concede to corporate demands. But coming back to the main plot about this green park. Green Park से Riverdale के residents का बहुत ही एक emotional connection है. Other than being the land that they have settled on, it's also the fact कि इस park में उनके बच्चे जब बहुत छोटे होते हैं हमेशा एक आके tree लगाते हैं. This kind of is supposed to signify that this community has a very close connection to the land that they live on. Taking the story of the Archies, Zoya, Akhtar and Rima Kakti have tried to थोड़ा सा rejig it, कहीं change some things about the characters, and those are very refreshing to see. एक चीज तो यह है कि जो Reggie, the person that we see in the comics, is kind of like an anti to Archie. Archie is an angel, Reggie is not. यहाँ पे Reggie is the more empathetic one, he is the more intuitive one. जो उसका एक conversation है with Dilton Doily just about, well, you'll watch in the film, is so heartfelt. It is so heartwarming to watch, and that is one thing about the Archies कि it is so soft and it is so fun and it is so cute. For instance, Jughead का जो character है played by Mihir Ahuja, also who's done a wonderful job. You see कि he is more intimidated by Betty and Veronica than just the comics where he is, I guess, just apathetic. But he's also one of the few characters who sees the spirit that these women have. Our main person, Archie Andrews, played by Agastya Nanda, there is a certain bashfulness with which he plays this character, which makes sense because of the way that they have rejigged it. He's self-confident to a fault where he's like, oh, I am attractive, everyone loves me, I can do no wrong, nothing bothers me, nothing affects me. But almost everyone is just outshined, outshone. Whatever, by Vedang Raina. Vedang Raina honestly has this suave around him in this character that is just, I am giddy. I don't know why I'm giddy. He's just done such a great job as Reggie. It's honestly one of the reasons why Reggie is such a fun character in the film is because of how Raina plays it. He plays it with this empathy, with this kindness. When it comes to the cast, Khushi Kapoor is effective. She is adorable, wonderful, just fills the screen with light. And her role as Betty Cooper, which makes sense because that's what Betty is supposed to be. There is a certain, I don't know, insecurity that comes with Betty's character in the comics that doesn't reflect very much in the film. Wo I think would be my one complaint. Suhana Khan as Veronica is absolutely stunning. She skates and she dances with just this kind of haughty air, which again Veronica is supposed to have, so that works for the script very, very well. I do think that the cast, all of them actually, maybe except some of the supporting roles were pretty good. The main cast still needs to, I guess, work to become seasoned actors, but for their debuts, this is pretty impressive. My favorites honestly were Dilton Doily played by Yuvraj Mehta and Ethel played by Dot. Dot, who I genuinely love as a musician, here also does a very, very nice job. उनके character के जो भी arcs हैं, no matter how minuscule, are performed very well. I really like the fact that the Archies explores the human connection so well. मेरा एक complaint था when I was watching Furry was that sure you don't want to delve into the world around the characters, but characters के बीच के जो connections हैं, those can be delved into just through their interactions with each other. That happens in the Archies. हर character का दूसरे character के साथ जो भी interaction है, उसमें you learn something about the character and that really helps. Even something as simple as like Ethel going back to her previous employer with an apology is just There's so much to learn just in that little scene, and that is the Archies का strength, the humanity of it. क्योंकि ये जो film है इससे relate करना बहुत मुश्किल होगा, because this is not a world any of us are growing up in, and honestly Riverdale does seem like a paradise, an island that is removed from real world issues. But it's this kind of human angle जिसको देख के you're like, yes, we've gone through this too, and the personal is so important. The one problem with the Archies, however, is कि वो जो हमारा source material है उससे ऊपर हम ज़्यादा जाते नहीं हैं. The stakes just don't feel high. Everyone is very nice, which is great for the world just in general. But for the film, it kind of comes across कि ठीक है, why should I worry so much when I know everything is going to be okay? The film does delve into a lot of themes. Let's say sexuality, just teenagers figuring out their life, the importance of family, just the importance of living on a land, the importance of minorities essentially belonging to the land that they also live in. There's a lot more that's happening. A lot of it, however, is a little superficial. The one thing I did like was the discussion that happens through Archie. Archie in the comics is essentially the best guy, right? He's just the best Sonamunda. But in this, walking red flag, like, okay, he's not a bad person, he's just a teenager, but there are a lot of red flags in this guy, right? He is also the kind of character who is a little detached from Baki Logon ka struggle because he has an escape route. In that, we also see the fact that he says, oh, politics does not affect me, right? And that is when his friends can get into the spirited number of how everything is political, the personal is political. And that is, I think, a very well written song. Also, just the fact that this film is about teenage rebellion in a world where adults kind of have to give in to things because of the pressures that the world puts on them. This song is very fitting. The Archies wins, however, despite the kind of superficiality. It distracts you rather because of its absolutely stunning production design, its art design, the costumes, just the attention to detail. बहुत ही सुंदर है. The beauty is almost disarming. The music, again, is absolutely just toe-tapping, so fun. This is supposed to be a musical, which I really enjoyed. I think this is one of those musicals that actually is a musical, you know, and मेरा personal favorite song is Dishum Dishum. बहुत मजा है मुझे उस गाने में. I also love the setting of that song, but also Vava Boom is amazing. Suno is great. एक मेरा अगर qualm होगा, एक अगर कोई problem होगा, is the fact that the whole Dear Diary moments becoming almost poetry. उसका novelty wears off pretty quick. It just kind of gets a little gimmicky towards the end. और वो एक problem dialogues के साथ भी है. I understand that this is based on comics, but जो dialogues हैं, they kind of flit between या तो how humans actually talk, how teenagers actually talk, या meme material, a little gimmicky, a little comic booky, और वो थोड़ा सा अजीब लगता है इसमें, and it kind of takes away from the charm of the film a little bit. वही I think the Archies का थोड़ा सा flaw है is that it's again a little superficial. Because let's be honest, यार, I watched Riverdale. I did watch all 7 seasons. उसमें we had a little more going on. I understand it's a whole 7-season long show, so they have a lot to do there with their time compared to the Archies. But for me, like, Hiram Lodge was running a whole cartel. Like, man was decked to here with evil. यहाँ पे वो भी थोड़ा ज़्यादा नहीं है. Most of these characters are just archetypes that we've already seen in the comics. And I guess that is my biggest problem with the film. The Archies is a simple show made for simple viewing, and it is just so absolutely cute, but I can't get past the fact that it could have been so much more. And that is why my rating for the Archies is 3 stars out of 5.